we're going to continue talking about trigonometry. All right, so you're going to be finding points on the terminal side of theta. It says use your angle to decide what quadrant you're in. Use the chart or trig function definitions to answer the question. So what this is about is if you are in the first quadrant, so if you drew an angle somewhere in this quadrant, this would be theta. Your sine of theta will be positive because remember sine is, if you're in the unit circle, sine is the same thing as the y-coordinate. In the first quadrant, everything is positive. So sine is positive, cosine is x, x is positive, tangent is y over x, a positive divided by a positive is a positive. And then of course when you flip them over, it's going to be the same. So everything is positive in the first quadrant. If you're in the second quadrant, if your angle is over here somewhere, okay, this would be your reference angle actually. And in this quadrant, if you're looking at your sign of your functions, because in this quadrant, x coordinates are negative and y coordinates are positive, since sine is y, sine is positive here. Since cosine is x, x is negative here, so cosine of theta would be negative over here. Tangent would be y over x, which is a positive, divided by a negative, which is negative. And then these guys obviously will match. Okay, so in the third quadrant, x is negative and y is negative. So sine is y, which makes it negative. Cosine is x, which makes it negative. Tangent's actually going to be positive because you have y over x, which if that's a negative and that's a negative divided by a negative is a positive. And their cousins are the same sign. If you're in the fourth quadrant, x is positive, y is negative. So if you're looking for sine of an angle down here in this quadrant, since sine is y, y is negative, cosine is positive because cosine is x. Tangent would be y over x, which is a negative divided by a positive, which is negative. And then these guys match theirs. All right, so it says state the sign positive or negative for a sine of t, cosine t, and tangent t for values of t in the interval given. Okay, so they're talking about from 0 to pi over 2. In your unit circle, here's 0, here's pi over 2. So they're telling you that you are in quadrant 1. So if I'm in quadrant 1, everything is positive. So sine of t would be positive, cosine of t would be positive, and tangent of t would be positive. Okay, if you're going from pi to 3 pi over 2, here's pi. This is 0, this is pi over 2, this is pi, and this is 3 pi over 2. And this would be 2 pi, or 0. Okay, so if we're talking about between pi and 3 pi over 2, we're talking about quadrant 3. And if we're in quadrant 3, sine of t would be negative, cosine t would be negative, and tangent t would be positive. Okay? Again, you either have to have this chart handy to read, or you can always figure it out because you know the signs. You know, in any quadrant when you travel, this way x is negative and this way y is negative. So if you're both negative, okay, then sine and cosine are negative, and tangent is the quotient of a negative divided by a negative, which is positive. So if you don't have this chart, just think of your signs, and then you have to know these. All right, so cosine of 143 degrees. Well, 143 degrees, up here would be 90 degrees, here would be 180 degrees. So 143 is somewhere in quadrant 2. So if I'm in quadrant 2, cosine is negative. Okay, tangent of 192, well this is 90, this is 180, this is 270. So 192 is somewhere in quadrant 3. Which means tangent in quadrant 3 is positive. Yeah? Alright, so you hit pause, come back when you're ready, and cosine in quadrant 2 is negative. Try this one, hit pause, come back when you're ready, And tangent in quadrant 4 is negative. Try this one. Come back when you're ready. And hopefully you got negative. 3 pi over 2, again, you got to know your unit circle. This is 0. This is pi over 2. This is pi. This is 3 pi over 2. So if you want sine, no, this isn't 3 pi over 2. Let me think here. Yeah, it is. 2 pi over 2. Yeah, this is 3 pi over 2. 3 pi over 2. So that's actually on an axis. This is a quadrantal angle. I didn't realize that I put any of them in there. Well, the coordinates here would be 0, negative 1. And sine is y, and y is negative. So sine of 3 pi over 2 is negative. Okay, try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. And tangent of 172 is positive. This would be 0. This would be 90 degrees. This would be 180. So 172 is in quadrant 2. And tangent in quadrant 2 is negative. Oh, I got the wrong answer there. My bad. Sorry, I will have to change that. It should actually be negative because 172 degrees is in quadrant 2. Yep. My mistake. Okay, so finding points on the terminal side of theta. Navigate to the angle in the unit circle and use the point corresponding to the angle in the unit circle. Any multiple of those coordinates will be on the terminal side of theta. I don't really know why people struggle so hard on this. If I wanted a point on the terminal side of pi over 6, what they mean is if I drew that angle, there would be my initial side, there would be my terminal side. Any of these points that are on this line would be a point on the terminal side of pi over 6. So that would be a point that is on the terminal side of pi over 6. But any multiple thereof will also be. So let's say that I multiply these both by 4. So that would be 2. So that would be 2 square roots of 3, and that would be 2. So 2 square roots of 3 comma 2 is also going to be on this terminal side. Okay? And you could do that all day long and find various points on it. Alright, so it says choose a point on the terminal side of theta. Theta is 2 pi over 3. So if I drew that angle, there's my initial side. There's 2 pi over 3. Okay, here's the point that's on that terminal side. So I got to figure out which one of these points is a multiple of this point. Well, if I take negative 1/2 and the square root of 3 over 2, I notice that none of these have fractions in them. So if I kill the fraction, as long as I do it to both of them, so multiply by 2, that'd be negative 1. Multiply by 2, that'd be the square root of 3. That point is also going to be on the terminal side of theta. Okay, for 45 degrees, switch colors here. For 45 degrees, I'm drawing, there's my initial side, there's my terminal side. So square root of 2 over 2, square root of 2 over 2 is on the terminal side of 45 degrees. That choice isn't there, so it's got to be a multiple. Again, first thing I'm going to do is kill the fraction. So if I multiply by 2, multiply by 2, that would give me square root of 2, square root of 2, which isn't there. So if I square both of these, that would give me 2, 2. And so that would give me that point on the terminal side. Okay, so you do this one, hit pause, come back when you're ready. And hopefully you got 1 square root of 3. So for theta is 60 degrees, there's my terminal side, which has 1/2 square root of 3 over 2. If I kill the fractions, multiply by 2, I get 1 comma square root of 3. So that one's got to be on the terminal side. Okay, do this one, hit pause, come back when you're ready. And hopefully you got negative 1, 1. So if I go to negative 3 pi over 4, Here is positive 3 pi over 4, so if I reflect down, that's going to put me right here. So here's my terminal side, which has a negative square root of 2 over 2, comma, negative square root of 2 over 2. Well, first thing I'm going to do is, if I kill the radicals, that would be 2, so that would be negative square root of 2, negative square root of 2. If I divide both of those by a negative square root of 2, I get, or positive square root of 2, I get negative 1, negative 1. So it's got to be that one. Alright. To evaluate the trig function of a quadrantal angle. Quadrantals means that it's at 0. That's a quadrantal angle. 90 degrees is a quadrantal angle. 180 degrees is a quadrantal angle, 270 is a quadrantal angle, and 360 is a quadrantal angle. Quadrantal means it's on the axis. It's one of those 4 angles. Okay? So it says sine of 810 degrees. Well, I got to figure out how many 360s are in there. So if I take 810 and I divide it by 360, 810 divided by 360 goes 2.25 times. Well, that means it goes in there a total of 2 times. 360 times 2 is 720. 810 take away 720 is 90 degrees. So to get to 810 degrees, I'm going to go all the way around to 360 twice. There's 360, there's 720, and then I have to go another 90 degrees. That would be a total of 810 degrees. But where that puts me at is pi over 2, or 90 degrees. And sine of 90 would be y. Okay, and the y coordinate at pi over 2 is 1, so sine of 810 is 1. Done. Okay, cosine of 9 pi. Well, that would be 1 pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, 4 pi, 5 pi, 6 pi, 7 pi, 8 pi, 9 pi. So I'm actually over here at 180 degrees. I just got really dizzy going there. So this is my angle, and I want cosine, and cosine is x, and the x coordinate of that point is negative 1. Okay? Okay, tangent of 630. Well, again, if I figure out how many 360s are in there, 1.75. So 360 goes in there 1 time. Take away 360 leaves 270 degrees. So I'm going to go all the way around 1 time. There's 360 degrees, and then I have to go an extra 270, which will put me all the way back down to here. So this is my angle, 270 degrees. And they want tangent there. Tangent is y over x, so it's negative 1 over 0, which is undefined. Because you can't divide by 0. So you can't take tangent of 630 degrees. Alright? So you try this one, hit pause, come back when you're ready. And hopefully you got negative 1. So cosine of 540. 540 divided by 360 goes 1 time. Take away 360. And you get 180 left. So I'm going to go all the way around 1 time. There's 360 plus another 180. So that puts me at 180 degrees. So cosine is x. The x coordinate here is negative 1. So cosine of 540 is negative 1. Okay, so try this one. Hit pause. Come back when you're ready. And hopefully you got 0. 20 pi. 1 pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. It puts me right here. Now, have you guys figured out anything? instead of getting so dizzy like that, if you're going an even number of pi's, you're going to end up over here at 0 degrees or 360. If you go an odd number of pi's, you're going to end up over here at 180 or pi. Okay, anyway, I end up back over here. There's 20 pi. Those coordinates are 1, 0. They want sine. Sine is y. The y coordinate is 0, so sine of 20 pi is 0. Alright, let's try this one. Hit pause, come back when you're ready. And hopefully you got 0. So if I take 1440 and I divide it by 360, it goes 4 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm back here at 0 degrees. So the coordinates there are 1, 0. Tangent is y divided by x. The y coordinate is 0 divided by the x coordinate is 1. 0 divided by anything is 0. You just can't have 0 on the bottom. Alright, so can you draw and locate an angle on the unit circle? Identify the initial and terminal side. Generate positive angles by counterclockwise, negative angles by clockwise, and identify positive and negative coterminal angles. Okay, well, we were talking about initial and terminal sides. We didn't really answer any of these, but, yeah. Alright, so, we're at homework. So, happy homeworking. And I will see you next time.